Hello everyone, this is Jasian with Jasian and the boys, and I'm here with another Warframe video. This one is going to be on Erra and what kind of a character he was. Was he a good written character? Was he poorly written? Let's talk about that. But before we get into it, I would just like to invite anyone who has not done the new war quest to get off this video right now, because the new war is amazing and I don't want to spoil anything for you. Anyways, now with that out of the way, let us get into the discussion. So, Erra, a lot of people think that he has a lot of failed potential with this new update, because the first time you meet him, he's like this super awesome leader of the Sentients, he's like the head honcho, and he's like bossing Ballas around, he's got Ballas on a rope. But then the next time you see Ballas in the new war, he's the one calling all the shots, and Erra is the one on the strings, where Erra has to take commands from Ballas and all that, and Erra just seems like a super weak guy who's just getting bossed around by his dad, by Ballas, just like literally everyone. And it doesn't help that at the last moments that Ballas has, he goes flip-flop on his allegiances, and he's like, oh, my dad was actually right. I actually do want to take Ballas down. He's crazy. And then he goes and helps you. And then he just straight up dies in the lamest way, where he's lifting open an opening and then stuff falls on him and he just dies like that. Kind of a lame ending for someone so powerful, not gonna lie. But the first time I played through this quest, I had this weird idea go through my head where the cinematic for him supposedly dying ends, where we cross through the passage he's holding up. That cinematic ends, and I immediately look back to see if he's alive or not. And guess what? He's nowhere to be seen. He's nowhere. And the stuff he's holding up is in the exact same position it was when he was holding it up, like it hadn't even fallen. So I'm led to believe that Erra's not actually dead, and that he faked his death. And the only reason he was bringing you to that end area is because he wanted to get Ballas off his back. Now, to understand why he'd do this, let me just go back to the beginning of what we see of Erra. First, we see him in the Erra cinematic, where he's got Ballas on that rope, and he's the one in control. In that moment, I believe that he had Ballas there with him, more or less as an equal, even though it looked like he had him on a rope, and it looked like he was the weaker one. Erra struck a deal with Ballas, basically, that Ballas needed to get the Lotus on their team, because Erra had no way of bringing the Lotus back. But Ballas, he has all that weird organ magic and the Margulis programming. Who knows how that stuff worked out. But he knew that Ballas could get Nata back for him. And he does. And so Ballas is over there looking like he's the bottom man, when really he's like working with Erra almost as an equal. They just didn't want Lotus to think anything like super weird was going on, so they had Ballas on a leash because he's a maker, and so he's supposedly the enemy, so they can't just have him be like an equal there, otherwise that'd be kind of suspicious. But anyways, later on, Erra realizes that he's nowhere near as powerful as Ballas, and now that he's gotten what he wants out of Ballas, getting Nata back, he can't get rid of him because Ballas is just too stinking powerful. And there's nothing Erra can do to oppose him because he'll know that he'll just get destroyed out of the picture. He won't be in any position to rule at all if he opposes Ballas. And so he's looking for any opportunity he can get at this point to throw Ballas under the bus. And that opportunity comes when the Tenno board his giant ship, and he realizes, these guys actually have a chance to destroy him. So he leads us to Ballas, fakes his death, and after Ballas is dead, he goes and he takes over the Narmer again. Anyways, that's how I think it happened. May or may not be that way. I think it'd be really cool if we had this like big reveal where he actually is alive and he actually is still the head of the Narmer, and this is all just a trick. So that's just my thoughts. If you guys have any other thoughts about Erra or Ballas, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear about all that, as the New War stuff is still very recent, and I'm still, finding out new stuff all the time as I'm, like, looking back on those cinematics. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, go and give it a like, comment, and subscribe. What are your theories on Erra and Ballas? And we will see you in the next one. Boy!